Good morning, everybody. This is Mags Boland Murphy here from the Boffin Consultancy, and we come to you now with the Switch Hustle, where we're going to chew all things fun and not so fun about business and life, and I suppose put a bit of face to the businesses that are out there working hard to keep the economy going and support SMEs across the board. My name is Mags, and as I said, we have a really great lady here from Cube Design, Barbara Monaghan, who is the CEO, the MD, the boss lady at Cube Design. And Barbara is a lovely, lovely person to work with. She does some amazing work around business branding and helping businesses to brand effectively for positive impact. So with that, I'm going to say hello to Barbara, first of all, and thank you for giving the time this morning to come on here and talk all things business and life. And it's great to see you. How are you keeping?
Thank you very much, Max, for having me on. It's great to see you again. Lovely to see you. I'm keeping very well, thank you. Yes, it's all going good. Yeah, enjoying it despite what's going on around me.
I know it's been quite a challenge, Barbara, hasn't it, for everybody?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Barbara, tell us a little bit about Cube Design, where it came from, where the idea came from, and a little bit about your own journey in that business.
Okay. So I've been in the business, working in the business for over 30 years at this stage. When I started, it was a case of I'm a designer, I'm a graphic designer, I can help people, I can help small businesses. And that was my driver. And it still is my driver. But now I've obviously grown a lot, and Cube itself is coming up to, I think it's 13 years this year. So what I now say is that what I now am is a brand strategist and designer. So I work with ambitious entrepreneurs and leaders of small businesses. I specifically focus on small businesses, and what I'm doing for them is helping them to solve their identity and their communication problems. Because as strong leaders, what they need to really care about is their purpose, the perception of their business and their brand, and what is going to be their customers' experience of that brand. So I'm totally dedicated to small businesses and helping them to achieve that. These are kind of results that you might go to a larger agency for. Some of the bigger businesses will go to larger agencies, but I really feel that small businesses can really do with this help, and they, larger agencies would be out of their budgets as such. So that's where I fit in.
Okay. And what made you want to, I suppose, get into this space in the first place, to provide this service? Where do you see the value of it, and what really drove you to actually start this up?
What drove me to start it was seeing small businesses doing what they very often do, which is, they started out business and they say, okay, well, I somehow need to tell people I'm here. They go off, they get a website done in this place. They go off and they get, oh, sure, my friend's daughter is doing transition year and she's very good at drawing. Maybe she'd do me a logo. And this happens, and businesses start up like this. And it just pained me to see this, because I knew subconsciously this wasn't doing them any favors. So I suppose that's what drove me to it in the first place. Is seeing this and doing it for friends, I used to work in the UK and I continued to do it for some friends over there. I came home and started doing it for friends here. And more, I just got into it. I mean, I did visual communications in college. That's all I ever wanted to do, was something creative. As a kid, I wanted to do fine arts, but obviously the generation I grew up in, you aren't going to make any money in that, and would you not get yourself a proper job? So so I ended up in visual communications. So I've always done that. I've always done visual communications, graphic design. I've never done anything else, so I don't know anything else really. So then in doing and seeing how the graphic design, visual communications has evolved over the last 30 odd years, brand strategy has become a hugely important part of that. Now, it was something we always did. but the focus was never as much on it as it is now. It's something that helps businesses to understand and connect to what a brand is, because sometimes businesses don't really understand branding. They don't know what it is. They don't know the power of it and what it can do for them. So that's kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I have to agree with you, Barbara. I see a lot of different brands out there that underestimate the power of their brand. And I suppose we could talk about this all day, as we both know. But, you know, there's a lot more to the brand than just the physical drawing of the brand and the physical, you know, logo. You know, to my mind, it's about ethos, it's about culture, it's about being authentic, and it's about, you know, asking yourself, what do you want your customer or your ideal customer to see when they look at your brand and when they're looking for a service like what you offer. And it's really important now, I think, because the person is as much part of that, especially in small businesses. People will buy from people. And part of that, and I suppose business owners forget that, and it's not their fault. It's just, you know, you get caught up in the whole trying to run a business, trying to do the work, and you forget about these pieces because they become secondary to everything else. But they're actually quite powerful pieces that, you know, you are the brand. So what you do and how you act and how you represent yourself effectively is the difference between people looking at your logo and your brand and thinking, yeah, I'm going to deal with Barbara because I know she knows her stuff. She's going to give me the service I provide. Or saying something less than that, you know, because it's a very, very competitive marketplace. And now more so than ever, I believe, because of the pandemic, because of the different challenges we're faced, we have to be able to set ourselves apart. And part of that is our brand, which is much more than your logo. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. So true. I mean, your brand is not your logo. It's definitely not your logo. Your logo is simply the signature to trigger in somebody's mind all of the values that you have in your brand, all of the values that you want to portray, how you help your audience, what's the problems you solve for your audience. Your logo is just the trigger to remind them, oh, that's the people who do X, Y, Z. It's absolutely not your brand. And your brand, when we do brand strategy, we go through everything, including culture, because your culture is what you're putting out there, and you want what you put out there through your touch points, through your, sorry, I say touch points, through your websites, your leaflets, your brochures, what you say, what you do. You're putting out there a message. So that message has to get out there through all of those touch points to your audience. And what you want is for that to come back in exactly as you had put it out. You don't want something else to come back in. You want your brand to be perceived as you want it to be, and to help people as you want to help them.
You know, someone once said to me a long time ago, Mags, all you have in this life is your name. It's the only thing that every man and woman enters this world with. And no one can take that away from you. Okay.
True.
And it's a very simple thing. But when I started studying marketing, studying branding myself, working in different businesses before I set up my own, I always went back to that, because you have to, you're only as good as your last job, or as bad as your last job.
Yeah.
And part of that is your brand, that, you know, and I think we need to remember that how we interact, how we serve our customers and our clients is as much to do with Cube Design or Boffin Consultancy as it is to do with anything else.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you look at that stuff as well, do you, Barbara? From really, you dig deep.
Oh, I do. Absolutely do. Yeah. We dig deep. We go into the culture of the business. We go into the brand values. We go into your differentiation. Your differentiation is huge. So that means we look at all your customers. We look at what they're doing. Look at what they're saying. We look at your ideal clients, your ideal audience. We interview people. We interview your audience. We can compose surveys for you. Although surveys are, you need to have it as part of the research. It's not everything. But we can talk to your clients. We will research your area. Yeah, we dig very deep. We go into a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
That's
But the
cool.
results are huge. The result is a great framework, a great foundation. And once you understand that foundation and you understand your ideal client and your ideal customer, then you can build out from that. Then all of your marketing flows from that. Everything you do flows from that. Your
Absolutely.
website flows from that. Your structure of your website flows from that. Everything
And
flows from that.
I tell you, Barbara, I've always been interested in this because it's a really interesting piece to study and to look at how people interact with different brands and why they choose one over the other. It's amazing. It's a minefield, really. But
Yeah.
thank you for telling us about that. Can I ask you, on a completely different note, how have you found the last 18 months? And, I know your business really well. How have you found, the challenge, I guess, of juggling everything, family, working from home, all those pieces? How have you found getting through that and working with clients?
Yes, it has been a challenge for everybody. I think we've
Yeah.
catapulted ourselves forward about 20 years, so we're racing
Probably
to catch
needed
up
that
with
too.
ourselves. We did actually. We did. No, I think there's a lot of good stuff has come out of it. A lot of positives have come out of it. People have realized, hey, there's more to life, let's go get some of it. So there's a lot of positives that come out of it.
Yeah.
People that maybe had lost connections elsewhere have reconnected, things like that. So no, it's I think there's a lot of negativity out there, but I think we have to concentrate on the positives as well. It's been good.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like I said to somebody recently, I don't want to see you at Christmas unless you've got your positive pants on. Um, and I'm actually deadly serious
I
because
know, I know.
I don't know about anyone else who's listening to me here thinking I'm mad saying that, but I just feel we've been hammered with negativity. We've been
Yeah,
hammered with, and you know what? It's real life as well. And we have to acknowledge that, it's so hard now because I feel like every time I turn on the radio, there's a sad story or there's, an ad with a sad story. And it is, and I'm a very sensitive person, I guess. So that stuff can wear you down on
it
top of
does. Yeah,
COVID and
yeah,
on top of all
yeah.
that, especially what we do as well, it's so yeah, I told someone to put on their positive pants if they wanted to come to me for Christmas.
And you're dead right.
Um,
You're dead
and you
right.
know what? They say they will put on their positive pants. But what have you found? Have you found any challenges yourself in your own business through
In
COVID?
business, yes, definitely. And I've changed it up actually because of COVID. And that's been positive for me. So initially the first lockdown, I don't know, March, whatever, 2020 was it?
Yeah.
Yes, I went home and I left the studio and carried my equipment and everything home and thought, oh my God, what's going on here? And the first 6 months were kind of like trying to find your way, trying to feel how are you going to do this. So um, I actually decided to change how I work. I looked into different packages and things that could help me online. I've changed my brand strategy sessions were always in the studio, always face to face, using the walls, the whiteboards, the post-it notes, and that was a very hard thing to think about replicating online. Thankfully, I came across a couple of different packages actually that do it, but I settled on one called Miro, which
Yeah,
has
no,
been
no.
absolutely fantastic. It's been
It's
fantastic,
fabulous.
really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good tool. Really, really
Yeah.
good tool.
I have it actually on my phone. And it's really handy.
Handy for thoughts, even
Yeah.
planning your own thoughts, your own
Mm,
ideas about your business.
yeah.
But I was finding it that how do I get people to interact in the same way as face to face, but doing it online? So then the whole
Mm,
thought process behind that and the whole way I changed it. So I brought my brand strategy sessions into Miro. So all of my exercises and everything are in Miro. I'm using Zoom, obviously. And, being on Zoom with the client, having given them access to Miro. So then we're working on the boards together in Miro. Now, some customers find that a challenge. So
yeah.
I kind
Yeah.
of help them through it and do it for them. but other clients are really good with it, and they go, yeah, this is great, and they really get into it. So it's a case of having to use it according to how the client wants to interact with it and how they feel about it. So
well, that's good, because
it's been really good.
I think everybody, even though we've been using remote access since 2013, I still think we learned so much. I think we've brought more technology into the business, more smart systems into the business.
Yeah.
I will always have a hybrid model, because I suppose you need that balance between offline and online. Otherwise, you'll feel constantly like you're talking to a machine. And I actually kind of felt a little bit burnt out from that, if I'm going to be honest. The first lockdown, because we were on it 24/7, dealing with a lot of different businesses, kind of back to back, kind of. It was an unbelievable time. I've never had one like that in my business, but it was a really great learning curve, because you know, we all learned something, I think, from the lockdown, from lockdowns 1 and 2. You know, I think I tell a story about a client who just hated dealing with me on Zoom. And even though his management team had said, listen, you need to embrace this. But I think 2 days into lockdown, he rang our office and wanted to know if he could learn how to use it by 4:30 that afternoon. So now he's a changed gent, and he's embraced it, and it's great, you know. But sometimes we have, as I've been saying since lockdown hit, we've been positively persuaded into progress.
Yes. That's a nice phrase. I like that.
Yeah. I think it's a nice way of saying it, isn't it? Like we've kind of had to move forward, probably a little bit quicker than we wanted to, than any of us wanted to, no matter how tech savvy you were. And I think it's amazing, even from my mum, her age group, that generation. They're so savvy now on their little tablets, and oh my God, you know, she's telling me about stuff I don't even know is happening. I don't have the time to look at it anyway, but she's more aware of it than I am. And I think it's great, because it's opened up a new world for them as well, that they can communicate with their families, no matter where they are in the world. So I think that's a real positive piece, even though, you know, it's hard for them, not seeing them as regularly as they might have. Barbara, where do you see branding now as we move forward? Because we are in a different marketplace. There are different influencing factors now. There's a big emphasis online. I'm going to put in a caveat to that people need to remember there's an offline space as well, and there always will be. But because a lot of businesses are getting very hung up on just 100% online. And online is really, really important, but we need to balance that out, dependent on what we do for a business, as a business, depending on where and how we reach our ideal clients and customers. But you, from being a brand specialist, like, where do you see the value going forward for businesses if they want to step up to the plate and embrace this?
It has to be that consistency of your brand. It has to be that clarity of your brand. If you are very, very clear about your brand, who you are, why you're in business beyond making money, money doesn't come into it, why are you doing this, who are you doing it for, and why does it matter to them? And if you're very clear on all of that, very clear on the culture, your brand values, if you're very clear on all of that, that framework will serve you online and offline. That framework is what you live by. That's your Bible. Everything you do for your brand, ask yourself the question, is it going to help or hurt my brand? And always go by the brand strategy, the brand framework. That's what's going to guide you, and that's what's going to build what you want to build.
And I think a lot of us business owners have this in our head already, but it's just taking the time to look at it in the eye and just say, okay, well, we need to have something here to keep us accountable, because the brand is our business value as such. It's a stamp of approval on our business, you know, and I see it, how much like, I'm very protective of our ethos. I'm very protective of our
Yes.
culture. I'm very authentic. I hope I am.
Yes, you are.
And oh, thank you, Barbara. But no, genuinely, I hope I am, and I think I am. But I'm very, very protective of that piece. That I always ask myself and my team as well. In fairness to them, we always ask ourselves, okay, is this going to affect our brand? Is this a right fit for us?
Yeah.
You know, are we a right
Yeah.
fit for it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because
Yeah.
it's not just
Yeah.
one-way traffic. You know, there's two pieces to the jigsaw. And actually, tell us a little bit about some of the brands that you've worked with that you can speak about.
I can speak about. Okay, so one of the most recent clients that I've had has been very interesting. He is an expert in the cryptocurrency world, in blockchain.
Ooh.
And yeah, very interesting guy.
Yeah.
He is, I think, one of 3 people in Ireland with a master's in blockchain and cryptocurrency. He knows his stuff. So he set up a business, and he set up as Crypto Sersha, which this is going to be a global business for him. That name doesn't mean anything to anybody outside of Ireland, and in fact, even in Ireland, it's going to be difficult. So, he obviously needed to rename, but in order to rename, we needed to go right back to the beginning. So we talked about his brand, his values, his differentiation, his brand values, everything, absolutely everything. We really dug in his target audiences. We really dug in. I work with a copywriter regularly on all my brand products. So the copywriter is always involved to create the words that go with the images and go with everything. So we got through all of the brand strategy work, and only then could we think about renaming him. Because we can't rename the business until we understand every other aspect of the business, so, and how it all fits together, how it all locks together. So we renamed him to Accredo Digital Assets. So Accredo in Esperanto is the Esperanto for grasshopper, and a grasshopper is about taking a leap of faith with wisdom behind you. That's the symbolism of a grasshopper. So the leap of faith that his clients are taking is into a world that they don't totally understand, but they know that he does, and they know that he has the wisdom. So they're taking that leap of faith with him into this world of digital blockchain and cryptocurrency. So we renamed him to Accredo Digital Assets, and he's delighted with it. But I love the fact that it's Accredo is Esperanto, and as is cryptocurrency, it's non-territorial. So so that all fits. But his brand now, we're working on the website at the moment, and the structure of the website is really geared towards the brand and what he wants to do and how he wants to do it and how he wants to put it out there. We then did a bit more work through the brand strategy again in actually forming the packages that he wants to offer and how he wants to offer them. And we could do that because we understood the brand properly. We could do that because we understood the audience properly. We understood what their needs were. We spoke to them. We pulled it all together, and that's how we were able to nail the packages and how we should put those packages up there. So now we're working with the web developers in putting that structure in place and putting the packages in place and how we're communicating with the audience and how we're engaging.
Yeah,
and
that's
the messaging. Yeah,
very, very different, unique service as well.
Yeah, he's more about education. So
yeah, and I think one of the big things about, and it's something I definitely encourage businesses to do, is to not be focused by, or I suppose limited by location. So their physical location, you have to enable your business to travel and to have that opportunity to do so if it happens. I think that's really important because we trade now in a global marketplace.
Yes.
And that's where your brand really matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It really matters.
I actually have a global client at the moment, and we're talking to them. And it's funny how inward looking they are when I'm asking questions about who's your target audience and you know, how are you communicating this in different countries, and they're kind of going, oh no, it's everybody, it's you're going to go, no, it's not. So it's very funny to see how inward facing they actually are, but they don't even realize they are. So my job is going to be,
I think sometimes in a business as well, and I have to say I can be guilty of this at times, like that, you know, we all are. Yeah. I mean, you can look, because you're caught in the business. It's kind of takes that little bit of extra oomph to kind of go, hold on a minute, I need to look at the business. And it's easier for someone like me. I go into businesses all the time and we assess them and help them to move forward. And it's a fantastic, I love what I do. But at the same time, it's really difficult if the client can't see what you see. So it's kind of helping, you know, that old saying, bringing the horse to water. That's all right. But sometimes they're not ready to drink the water, you know. And that's really where it stops and starts, really, to be honest with you. Because I always say to clients, you know, it has to be right for you. We are here to help you. We will help you, no problem. And we will do what we need to do, and we'll help you to move forward. But we really need the client to step up to the plate as well and get involved. And we're very lucky in the clients that we do work with that is the case, you know, that really is the case. But some people find it takes them a little bit of time to get into that space because they may not have had anybody look at their business or help them, you know, kind of address gaps, address problems that they need to kind of address in order for them to move forward. So I can only imagine that it's the same with you as well, Barbara, for yourself and your team, you know, when you're working on specific businesses as well, because there's no two the same.
No, there isn't. Even in the same space, they're not the same.
And is there any sectors that you don't work with?
If I had a moral issue with something, I just couldn't. But I do work in a broad range of sectors. It's not sector specific. It's more about the state of the business, the point that the business is at. So it's about, you know, if the business is changing focus in some way, or maybe they've just become limited and they're trying to grow. Maybe they're taking over the family business, or a lot of people find themselves competing on price and not their value. And that's really when they need to start looking at branding.
That's a pet hate of mine, actually.
Yeah. But it is about, I find a lot of it is about education and about, you know, people kind of come to you. I always start with conversation. Like, I'll always have a conversation with people first to try and understand where they're at, try and see where they want to go to, and if they're ready to go.
And you know what, Barbara, it's funny you mentioned that, right? Because a lot of this is about education. You know, I have had clients come to me and say, Mags, I don't understand this. And I really don't. And I'm going, well, you're doing something right. You have a business and running, you know, and it's in profit and it's moving forward. So you're doing something right. So I think one of the things that we need to remember is that if we have an accountant, because we're not all accountants. I'm certainly not an accountant. We go to someone like you, Barbara, because we're not web designers or brand strategists, you know. We go to a hairdresser because we're not qualified to cut hair, you know. So we have to look at that everyone has their own craft and their own skill. We cannot be everything to all people.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
can't be if you're jack of all trades, master of none, as they say. But you know, if you're concentrating on all those other things, how can you focus on the one thing that you really want to do?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Tell us about something someone may not know about you, Barbara. Something that we'd never get about you.
About me personally, or
oh
God. Me personally. I don't know. Built my own house.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah,
Good
I came back
woman.
from, well, I spent about 10 years in England. Came back to Ireland in the middle of the Celtic Tiger, which was a very
Oh,
different Ireland to the one I'd left.
yeah. I can just
um,
imagine.
yeah, so we were kind of going, oh my God. Came back with our first child and thought, okay, it's London or Lucan because we can't afford to buy where we grew up, where we both grew up. And thankfully, my husband's family stepped in and gave us half the garden in the end, which I'm forever grateful to them for that because we would be gone. Only for them, we would be gone.
Yeah.
And my kids would never have known their grandparents as well as they have done over the years. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm forever grateful for that. But yeah, so yeah, built my house in the middle of the Celtic Tiger. Not recommended. I
No,
think we're still paying for it.
I am just at the close of that now.
Yeah, you've gone
We're
through the same
about,
process.
you know all about this because I've been speaking.
Yeah.
We have had the joy of building over the last 2 years, and it is now nearly ready to be moved into. It's ironically enough, the construction sector is a sector we do some work in as well. But my God, it has tested every ounce of my sanity.
Yeah.
And it's been a tough process. But you know what? When I see what it is now, I'm so proud of us, and it is something that you can always say, I did that.
Yeah. No, it's
Um,
huge. It's huge to
it's a
get through
huge
it.
undertaking. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not easy right now either because of the
No, it's
pandemic.
not. Yeah.
Cost of everything has gone upwards, and yeah, that's just the reality of life, isn't it, at the minute?
Yeah.
But well done to you, Barbara, for doing that back at the height of the boom. Oh my good God, I can just imagine.
Oh, so
Um,
there's always challenges, isn't there? Like
there is always
if it's
that's
not that, it's COVID.
curveballs. Like they're sent to test us, aren't they?
Yeah,
Um, Barbara,
absolutely.
what's next now for Cube Design in 2022?
Well, I am always, always, always upskilling. I am working with the brand guru at the moment, global brand guru Martin Newmeyer, who I've been a fan of his for years. What changed my whole life was reading one of his books called The Brand Gap. I'm working with him now, and I am working towards being accredited as a brand architect, which I will have in March next year.
Yes.
So I'm working on that at the moment. That's a big thing for me. It means that I am one step away from being able to teach brands, which will be the next step with Marty. So yeah, that's exciting, and it's brought me to. I think I am in March. I will be. There's one of two people, but I'm the only Irish person to have this accreditation. So
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'll be very
Pretty
proud of
awesome.
that. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you know what, Barbara? I know for a fact that you're a real valuable professional to have involved in a business. And I've heard that from clients of yours. No, it's
Oh, thank you.
not a mutual appreciation society at all. It's the truth.
Oh,
Keep doing what you're doing. And I think we need to kind of embrace the change now that's happened. I think we need to look at our businesses as I suppose I always look at the businesses as a sum of the people in them. And there is a personality there, and to let that personality come through in everything you do, because that's what people will connect with. And that's what brand is all about, really, when you think about it.
Absolutely. It is. It's
Brand
emotional.
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Barbara, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy lady, so I do appreciate it.
And thank you for having me. It's been good.
And I also want to just say to people that anybody who wants to contact Barbara at any point can do so on her website, cubedesign.ie. And I know that she has her contact details there as well. Barbara, what is your email address if you want to share it there with everybody?
Just simply Barbara@cubedesign.ie.
barbara@cubedesign.ie for all, you know, any questions or queries as well. Barbara, do you mentor as well with some of the Leos?
I don't at the moment. I'm actually going to be mentoring a design graduate, so
Fantastic.
that's coming up soon. Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't actually do it with the Leos or anything yet.
No, that's okay. And if anyone wants Barbara's contact details or can't find them, you can just email myself as well, mags@boffinconsultancy.ie, and I'll be happy to share them with you. And all that's left for me to say now is wishing everyone a good day out there. And thanks again, Barbara. And anyone listening back on replay, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you.